The room reeked of perfume, too intense, too unfamiliar for her. I kicked off my boots in the entryway, suitcase still gripped in my hand. Her jacket hung neatly on the hook as always, but right next to it was another one, slung carelessly with its hood dangling. Not mine, not hers. Back then, I had no idea everything was about to collapse. Let me start from the beginning. My name is Igor. I'm 48 years old. I live in Penza, work in logistics, managing transport routes across the Volga region and the Urals, 20 years of marriage behind me. Our daughter is a student in Saratov, renting her own place. I'd just gotten back from a business trip to Ulyanovsk. Weeks on sites, endless roads, cheap hotels, non-stop negotiations. Everything felt routine until I stepped inside the apartment. Silence hit me. Not the kind without sound, but the kind that made the place feel lifeless, like the home had stopped breathing. In the kitchen, everything looked in place. The old frying pan with the handle I'd fixed with wire years ago, the drying rack stacked with mugs, our chipped teapot that my daughter and I had picked out together, all familiar, all ours. But the air carried a different scent, like someone had brewed coffee we never drank. And maybe it wasn't just coffee. The bedroom was tidy as usual, but the bed was made differently. Not my way, not our way. Pillows stacked in an odd pattern. The bedspread wasn't the one we normally used. I paced the apartment slowly, scanning it like I'd never seen it before, searching for something without knowing what. My hand automatically adjusted the plant on the windowsill. Someone had turned it toward the light differently than I always did. We'd bought this apartment on a mortgage 16 years ago. Saved for ages for the down payment. Picked everything out together. Tiles, wallpaper, even the baseboards. Argued over choices, laughed through it, made up quickly. I remembered hauling that old dresser from the market in the trunk of our beat-up Lada, the one she spotted on sale. She was thrilled setting out the plates her mom had given us. The place had always felt human, warm, built with care. That's why the chill hit so hard now. Not in the temperature, but in the glances, the small details, the gaps in conversation. For dinner, she reheated pilaf. No words exchanged, no smile, no questions about my trip. Just, "You're probably tired." Before she walked away, I ate in silence, staring at the wall. Then I headed to the bathroom right after her. The towel hung damp, toothbrush, razor, all there. But my eyes landed on the shelf by the mirror. A new shower gel, black bottle with English lettering. The scent was strong, masculine, mint mixed with wood. Not mine. Never had been. I picked up the bottle, flipped it over, sniffed it again. Could be a gift, a sample, a mistake. But why did it make my insides freeze? The smell lingered in my mind, just like it did in the bathroom air. I tried to shake it off. After all, what if someone left it at her office or she grabbed it on sale at Magnet without thinking? But the anxiety clung, refusing to let go. I started noticing things. It all kicked off that Sunday morning. She headed to Lenta for groceries, usually back in 40 minutes, an hour tops. This time, she was gone nearly 2. Phone went unanswered. Later, she said she'd left it in the car. The receipt I dug out of the trash showed just 4 items: milk, bread, eggs, shampoo. That's it. For 2 hours. She began taking longer to dry her hair, switching pajamas more often. Her evening TV shows with headphones turned into a daily habit. But I knew she hated watching alone. She always wanted to comment, share reactions. Now it was just muffled sounds from behind the bedroom door. I tried distracting myself with work, tinkering in the garage, chatting with Sashka, the neighbor downstairs. But even Sashka acted off when I casually mentioned Natasha in conversation. He repeated, "Your wife?" Then switched topics fast. One evening she came home from work smelling of a new cologne. Sharp, spicy, amber heavy. I raised my eyebrows. She caught it. "What?" she asked, locking eyes with me. "New scent? Like it?" I nodded, but inside, something twisted. She hadn't bought new perfumes. And if she had, wouldn't she have mentioned it? Like always? When she left her phone on the kitchen counter, notifications popped up from Alina work. Every evening, every 10 to 15 minutes. But I'd met that Alina once at a company party I knew for a fact she'd quit ages ago. Our daughter and I texted. One day she dropped, "Mom's been seeming sad lately." I asked why. "No reason, just like she's tired of everything." I stayed quiet. Then one Saturday night she turned affectionate out of nowhere. Dinner ready, candles lit, wine poured. She tried hard. Too hard. Not her style at all. I sensed it was an act, not real warmth, but a performance. For whose benefit? I woke up in the middle of the night. She lay beside me, asleep, turned to the wall. Her breathing steady, but everything inside me shook. Sleep wouldn't come. I got up, wandered to the kitchen for water, and spotted 2 wine glasses in the sink. Both rinsed clean. We'd only drunk from one. I lifted one to my face, catching a faint whiff of someone else's lips. Or was it my imagination? Back in bed, I stared at the ceiling. The thought spun. I don't know who this person next to me is anymore. If I start asking questions, there's no turning back. Morning came. She said, "I'll be late today. Meeting at the office. Don't wait up." But in her bag, I glimpsed 2 tickets for an evening movie at the multiplex comedy. Row 7, seats side by side. The name on the second ticket was carefully taped over. I said nothing, just nodded. All day, one thought nagged. This isn't guesswork anymore. This is the start. Of what? I left the tickets untouched in her bag. They sat there neatly, like bait laid out in case someone peeked. But Monday, my head buzzed. Why hide the second name? Why not mention it if it was really a work meeting? I carried that lump inside. At work, I snapped at colleagues, forgot a report, recounted warehouse stock twice because I kept losing count. In every little thing, every move, I saw patterns repeating. She started lingering in the bathroom more. No phone, no book, just long silences. Once, I heard her whispering, like she was talking to someone. But when I opened the door, she was just drying her hair, saying nothing. Wednesday turned rainy. I left work early, begged off citing a headache, wanted to slip home unnoticed, test if my gut was lying. The place was empty, but on the kitchen table, a mug of cooled coffee with cinnamon. I don't drink that. She never did. I ran my finger along the rim, sniffed fresh scent. Someone had been here. She walked in 40 minutes later, grocery bag from Piatarochka in hand, forced smile on her face. I couldn't hold back. "Who was here?" She froze for a second, then laughed. "What are you talking about?" "The cinnamon coffee. On the table. You don't drink it." "I know. I don't either." "Who was it?" She set the bag down, smile lingering but now laced with pity. "Oh God, Igor. It was me trying out new capsules. They gave me a set at work, wanted to surprise you. Guess I surprised you the wrong way." I said nothing. She peered into my eyes, searching. For fear? For doubt? "You don't believe me?" she asked. "In 20 years, have I ever given you a reason?" I had no response. I didn't even know what I thought yet. Are we really at the point where coffee on the table means an interrogation? She pulled the box from her bag, some pods used, some empty. "Want to brew one together right now?" She headed for the coffee machine. I shook my head. My heart pounded in my temples. A lump stuck in my throat. That night, I barely slept. Sat in the kitchen armchair for hours, staring out the window. Empty street, wet pavement reflecting lights and puddles behind the wall. She tossed, or maybe slept soundly. I wanted to believe her. Wanted to dismiss it all as exhaustion, overthinking, paranoia. But another voice whispered, "Too smooth. Too perfect." Friday, she left for a girls' night, said she wouldn't eat dinner. They wanted wine and sushi at that Japanese spot on Kulikova. I nodded. 2 hours later, I opened Telegram. Not our usual one, but her old account we'd used to chat with our daughter. I hadn't deleted it from the tablet. We synced family photos there. She hadn't touched it in ages. I didn't expect it to load, but it did. Message history empty. Almost. One chat. No name. No photo. Just a number. Last message. Be there in 15. Sent yesterday. Nothing today. I switched to the gallery. There it was. An auto-uploaded photo. Her face. Same sweater she wore now. Background. A cafe. But not the Japanese place. It was that Italian restaurant on Lermontova. And in the mirror reflection opposite her, a male silhouette. I froze. Said nothing. Wrote nothing. Just closed the tablet. That's it. Now I knew. Trusting her words was impossible. From that evening on, I started collecting evidence. For real this time. I didn't sleep at all that night. I sat in the living room, tablet in hand, zooming in on that photo over and over. The one with the mirror reflection, the male silhouette in the Italian restaurant on Lermontova. The longer I stared, the clearer it became. This wasn't a mistake. Not a coincidence. Not my imagination running wild. She was lying. Coldly, confidently, gently enough to make me question my own sanity. My mind raced back to the 2 movie tickets, the late office meeting, the cinnamon coffee capsules she pulled out like a magic trick. It all linked up now. A clean, logical chain. I'd been betrayed. Not in a heat-of-the-moment slip, but systematically. Planned out over time. At work the next day, I operated like a machine. No small talk, no jokes with the team. I handled my routes, checked manifests, coordinated deliveries without a word more than necessary. No one pushed for explanations. They could see the focus in my eyes, the tension in my posture. Except for Anton, the senior logistician. During lunch break, he pulled me aside in the break room, coffee mug in hand. "Hey, Igor. I think I saw you over the weekend. Or wait, not you? Your wife. We were walking by that cafe downtown. She was sitting with someone. Looked like not you." He caught himself, eyes widening. Or maybe it was nothing. Could have been a mistake. Anyway, no big deal. I nodded calmly, but inside, something clicked into place. So it wasn't just the photo. Now there was a witness. Unprompted, impartial. Anton had no reason to lie. We'd shared beers after shifts for years that gave me no moral right to back down. The doubt she'd planted was crumbling. I drove home with one thought pounding. Enough. I'm done observing. I'm pushing through to the end. The next evening, while she was in the bathroom, shower running, I grabbed her laptop from the kitchen table. "Just need to print the utility bills," I muttered to myself, though she couldn't hear the password was simple. Our daughter's birthday. Tabs popped up. Avito for classifieds. Government Services Portal. Spurbank Online. Everyday stuff. But I dove into the documents folder. Amid contracts, passport scans, and work files, there was a zip archive labeled Photos Vacation 2021. I unzipped it. No vacation pics, screenshots of chats. From Telegram, WhatsApp, cropped, but dates intact. Messages without names. "Baby, I only feel alive with you. Soon, just be patient." One showed her hand with our wedding ring. Clasped in it, a man's hand wearing a watch I'd never seen. Expensive, silver band, not something from our budget. My pulse quickened, but I stayed silent. I forwarded everything to myself via an old email she hadn't checked in months. Closed the laptop just as the shower stopped. The following morning I rose before her, brewed coffee in the kitchen, the machine humming softly. Silence otherwise. She shuffled out, sleepy-eyed in that same gray pajama set she'd worn for years. "You're up early," she said, rubbing her eyes, voice casual but probing. I didn't reply, just sipped my coffee, staring at the counter. That day, we barely spoke. She tried starting conversations about the weather, a neighbor's car, but I gave one-word answers or none. Evening came, she asked, "What do you want for dinner?" I shrugged, sat in the living room, flipped on the TV to some news channel. She lingered for a moment, then retreated to the bedroom without a word. Friday, she left again, supposedly for the salon. She returned later than usual, eyes relaxed like after a massage, but I saw the subtle tension in her jaw. "Where were you?" I asked right at the door, blocking her path slightly. "At Lena's," she replied quickly. "Nails first, then coffee and chat." "Why?" I pulled out my phone, twirled it in my hand. "What if I said I know where you really were?" She froze, then exhaled slowly. "Calm down, Igor. You're scaring me. What's wrong with you?" I stepped closer. "You know what's worse? When someone lies to your face like you're an idiot." Her face flushed. "Do you hear yourself? You're accusing me?" "Of what?" "Of not being who you pretend to be. I figured it out. A while ago. But now I've got everything." "What do you have?" she shot back, voice rising. "A photo? Me drinking coffee? Or your wild fantasies? Maybe you got fired and you're losing it?" She was yelling now, but I tuned it out. I walked to the closet, pulled out a duffel bag, started packing clothes methodically, shirts folded, socks rolled. "What are you doing? You're leaving? Where?" Her tone shifted from anger to panic. I zipped the bag, grabbed my passport and keys. "Where?" she demanded again. "None of your business." I stepped out into the hallway. The neighbor from the third floor was smoking on the stairs. She moved aside silently. I didn't apologize, didn't smile, just walked past. Outside, the air was cool. I headed to my car, feeling the pressure inside me release, like a valve opening. I drove to the office. Lights were still on. The night guard, surprised, unlocked the door. "Didn't expect anyone?" I nodded. Forgot some documents. Sat at my desk, logged into email, opened the message with the archive. In the attachments folder, a new file. Rental agreement March. Opened it. Not a contract. A photo. Her in an embrace with him. Background. The banner of Hotel Volga. Date. 3 weeks ago. The day she claimed to be homesick with a fever. I felt nothing. No pain. No rage. Just cold detachment. I saved it to a new folder labeled Start. Closed the laptop. Stood up. For the first time in days, I straightened my back fully. I rented a studio in the industrial zone on Petrogradka. Small place. Gray walls, fridge, electric kettle, an old IKEA couch. Didn't need more. The heating rumbled like a diesel engine, trucks roared under the windows, but I slept. Deeply. Without her. Breakfast, coffee from the vending machine downstairs, boiled eggs, dinner, whatever I grabbed at Piatarochka, canned soup, bread, no TV, just the laptop for sorting documents. I gathered everything, receipts, screenshots, photos, call logs, made copies, set up a dedicated flash drive, folders labeled dryly, Fact 1, Fact 2, Evidence 0, 3-09. Correspondence. It got easier. We only communicated about necessities, bills, daughter's schedule. One evening I stopped by the apartment for winter clothes. She opened the door like I was a stranger from another life. Her eyes mixed anger and confusion. "How long?" she asked. "As long as it takes." She stood in the t-shirt she used to wear only at home. Guess she wasn't expecting anyone else now. I went to the bedroom. She didn't follow, just called out, "Our daughter cries at night." I turned. "And you?" She said nothing. Lesha from accounting recommended the lawyer. He'd been through something similar. Woman in her 30s, strict demeanor, clear voice. We met at a cafe on Bolshoi Prospect. "Key is to gather everything carefully," she said over coffee. "No rushing. Don't expose yourself. You've got a strong position. She's hiding things. You have facts. But maintain discipline. Time, silence, control." I nodded. No need for more explanation. I was already in it. Then came the hard part. The conversations. Quiet ones. Half hints. With the neighbor who mentioned, "Saw some guy hanging around your entrance when you were away in November." Thought it was a relative. With her ex-colleague who slipped during a casual call. Amazing how she juggles meetings and dates. Ha ha. Oh, just kidding. I didn't laugh. Stared her down until she looked away. Even through our daughter. Grandma says Mom's acting weird. Says one thing, does another. Always hiding her phone. My mother-in-law called me herself later that evening. The phone rang while I was sorting through more files on my laptop in the dim light of the studio. I answered, hearing her heavy silence on the line for what felt like 10 seconds. Then she exhaled sharply. "I didn't want to get involved," she said, her voice cracking slightly, the kind of tone that carried years of family loyalty now fracturing. "But you're a good husband. I see that. I don't understand what's happening with her. If you need anything, call me." I thanked her flatly, no warmth in my words. Just noted it internally. One less ally in her camp. Her own mother turning. That had to sting Natasha if she knew. Friends were trickier. Some started pulling away, canceling plans with excuses about work or family obligations that sounded too rehearsed. Others tensed up during encounters, like at the local market where I'd run into a couple we'd known for a decade. They'd shift their weight, avoid eye contact, mumble about the weather before hurrying off. Only Anton, that same senior logistician from work, stayed straightforward. We met for a quick beer after a shift, sitting at a corner table in the dimly lit bar near the office. "Listen, you're tough," he said, leaning in, his voice low but firm. "I'd have lost it by now. But you're doing this right. Just don't let up, while she hasn't gone further." I nodded, gripping my glass tighter. His words reinforced my resolve, but they also amplified the isolation, the way social circles were cracking under the weight of unspoken judgments. In a town like Pensa, where everyone knew everyone's business through whispers at work or neighborhood gatherings, this betrayal wasn't just personal, it was a social unraveling, exposing how fragile those bonds really were in the face of scandal. "And her?" Natasha tried. A single telegram message popped up late one night. "Do you really think it's all that simple? We're a family. 20 years our daughter. Remember." I stared at the screen, the words glowing in the dark room. It was classic manipulation, pulling at the strings of shared history to make me doubt. But I didn't reply. Not because I had nothing to say, but because everything had already been said. Silence was my choice now. My shield against her gaslighting, her way of twisting reality to make me feel like the villain. I talked to our daughter more often, calling her and Saratov every other day. Not directly about the mess, but checking in. "How's school? Any issues with classes? How about your art club? Still enjoying it? Mood okay?" One call, her voice hesitant over the line. "Today Mom came to the parent meeting with Uncle Sasha. He introduced himself as my dad. I said no, and he got all embarrassed." I clenched my jaw, the phone hot against my ear. Didn't say a word back, just hugged her virtually through the silence before murmuring, "Come here," as if she were in the room inside. No pain or anger left, just duty, to do this right, all the way. That evening, I powered up the laptop again, opened the document tracking dates, contacts, facts. Typed at the bottom, "Ready. Just waiting for the right day." The phone buzzed with another notification from my mother-in-law. "You were right. I didn't want to believe it. But now I see. Sorry I stayed quiet before." I shut off the screen, stood up, walked to the window. Gray courtyard below, dumpster overflowing, street lamp flickering. Wind chased a plastic bag across the pavement. Soon, I thought. Everything would fall into place soon. Life without her wasn't terrifying. It was liberating. I rented a small one-bedroom in an old building on Vostania Street, near the transit hub for easy commutes. Furnished it minimally. Couch, table, wardrobe, fridge. For the first time in years, the silence and emptiness didn't bother me. They gave space to breathe. I rose at dawn, got ready, drove to the office. Worked till dark, poring over routes, negotiating with suppliers, ignoring the curious glances from co-workers Ate from Piaterochka. Buckwheat, eggs, kefir, canned fish. No rituals, no savoring, just fuel. Skipped TV. Evenings. Laptop. Lawyer emails. Paperwork. Compiled everything into one folder. Timestamps, copies, statements. Methodical, sequential, emotionless. We didn't talk at all. She called, texted, Sharp at first, "How dare you ignore me?" Then tearful, "Please, Igor, think about what you're doing to us." Finally businesslike, "We need to discuss the finances at least." I ignored everyone. Anything necessary went through our mutual friend Ira, our daughter's godmother. She knew the full story, stayed neutral, relaying messages like a mediator in a Cold War. The rest. They either drifted away or went silent, the social fallout highlighting how infidelity in a close-knit community like ours eroded not just a marriage but entire networks, leaving people to choose sides or vanish. With our daughter, I handled everything myself. Picked her up from visits, walked in the park crunching leaves underfoot, played chess on the bench, discussed cartoons and homework. She grew quieter, matured fast, too fast for her age. Our talks stayed simple, but they held everything. Once she asked, "Dad, do you still love Mom?" I didn't answer, just pulled her into a hug. She didn't cry. Neither did I. But inside, it squeezed. The heaviest words I'd heard in months. I knew I had to hold on. For her, for the future. I met the lawyer 3 times. Marina Sergeyevna, a dry, precise woman in her 50s, at her office downtown. She didn't pity or console, just laid it out. "Here's the apartment, in her name, but we'll challenge. Car, yours. Accounts, tech, assets, we sort them. Key, no emotions, just strategy." I listened, jotted notes, gathered all documents myself, locked down emails, changed passwords, inventoried property. It felt like prepping for a precise, calculated operation. Bloodless, but final. Then what I'd waited for happened. Through Ira. "Natasha wants to talk. In person. No fights. Humanely." I didn't go. Texted back short. "Too late." All through court. After that, a flood of messages. "Why are you like this?" Then, "Let's fix everything." Followed by, "You're destroying our family." Climax. A voice note, accusations flying. "You drove me to this." I replied to none. Then she stopped. We met a week later, in the city court hallway on Polytechnicheskaya. I entered first. She sat on a bench in her coat, eyes downcast, thinner than usual, gaze fixed on the floor. I walked past. No greeting, no glance. When called, we entered the courtroom silently. Just her heels clicking on the linoleum, papers rustling at the secretary's desk. Marina Sergeyevna nodded beside me. I sat. Natasha opposite. She opened her mouth to speak, but I no longer listened. I'd heard all I needed. The district court resembled a stuffy subway. Peeling walls, dim lights, linoleum worn by thousands of feet. I arrived 15 minutes early. My lawyer, Elena Borisovna, a neat woman in her 40s, sat nearby, flipping papers calmly. We didn't talk, everything clear without words. I wasn't nervous, not from confidence in winning, just knowing I'd done everything right. All I could. Now it wasn't up to me. I stared at the floor, recalling how, just a year ago, we'd climbed these stairs together to file for dividing the dacha to sell. Then as a team, now enemies. She entered last minute, wearing the coat I'd gifted for her birthday. Hair in a neat bun, makeup subdued. Face tense, crumpled. Eyes weary. Or angry. Sat opposite, no look my way. Good. Hearing started. Elena Borisovna spoke without drama. Calm facts, logic emphasis. Who paid the mortgage? Car registered to him. Who spent more time with the daughter? Paid for her classes, books, filed tax deductions, registered the dacha plot. Her side, a woman resembling her sister. I recognized her work colleague later. Spoke weakly, unsure. Natasha suffered. It was hard in the marriage. Then Oleg, our old mutual friend. I saw her twice leaving Alliance Hotel with the same man. Not coincidence. She always lied. I stayed quiet long, but can't now. After him, the 6th floor neighbor. Her husband worked late. Someone often came to the window. Thought relative, but noticed only when he was gone. Left late. Didn't want to interfere, but it's important. I watched Natasha, saw her struggle to keep composure, averting eyes more, pressing lips, her lawyer silent. Judge read the decision. Apartment to me. Car 2. Property dispute closed. Custody joint but primary with me at residence. Alimony from her. 15% Dasha division denied. She hadn't invested. Her moral compensation claim rejected. I nodded, stood, grabbed documents, left. Her voice echoed behind like a draft in the entryway. Empty. Next day, the unofficial second act. I sent one chat screenshot from her cloud, phrases unexplainable by stress or fatigue, to her boss via LinkedIn. No comments. A week later, a friend in her company's department messaged, they didn't fire her, but pulled from 2 projects, moved to reserve, hit her pay. Then she quit. Office buzzing. Then, a video. Her laughing, getting into her colleague's car. Didn't post publicly. Sent to the school parents group chat with caption, in case anyone heard I beat my wife or block her from our daughter. Response quiet. But 3 days later, a classmate's mom texted, Igor, if you need help with her, we can pick her up sometimes. Just know you're not alone. I replied brief, thanks. Means a lot. With her lover from the hotel, no direct contact, but through another acquaintance he learned I had his chat archive, calling his boss an old idiot, co-workers sheep. Within a month he was fired. And Natasha? She called, texted. Let's talk? Please. This went too far. You know me. I messed up. Forgive. At least for our daughter. I didn't respond. Deleted them. Because everything was already said. I didn't start a new family. Live in our old apartment. Weekends with our daughter, fishing trips, learning to make lasagna, rewatching old cartoons. I go to work, evenings with laptop, occasional walks. Life's not perfect, but it's mine. Sometimes lonely? Yes. But better than living with someone who betrayed not just you, but everything you built. Who killed trust? Who taught you not to believe words, even the sweetest? I'm no saint. I just did what I had to. No hysterics, no threats, no revenge from spite, just justice. I didn't get everything back, but I got myself. If you've read this far, you know that chill under your skin when a loved one deceives. Don't stay silent, don't endure, don't seek vengeance. Just stand and leave. Take the step, even if scary, especially if scary. Subscribe to the channel. Real stories only here. No templates. No. Take her back. Forgive now. Just what anyone might face. And if you have, you're stronger. See you in the next story. Hang in there. You're not alone.